Hello, this is Johnny Phillips. I work with Junior Achievement of New Jersey, where we empower young students to prepare and succeed in the global economy.
Good morning. My name is David Richter. I'm the Senior Director for State Government Affairs for PSEG, which is a public utility and energy company in the state of New Jersey.
This is our third consecutive video with PSEG, so we thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to share some insight in your work. And to get started, David,
No
do
problem.
you mind sharing a little bit about your job story? What do you do to earn a living, and maybe why you chose to do that?
Sure. And I think it's a little interesting. My current job, again, is State Government Affairs. I'm the Senior Director. I handle the government affairs relations for PSEG on the regional level. So that's county and state and municipal level. I also am involved on the state assembly and legislature, but mostly focused on the municipal and county level. And I got this job. I've been here for 3 years in this position. Prior to that, I was an attorney for PSEG. So my background is, in the legal world. I started after law school in a law firm, handling mostly real estate work. And then after 4 years, I had the opportunity to get a job in-house at PSEG. Obviously, jumped at it. Getting an in-house counsel job at such a young age is a difficult thing to obtain. So I was excited to have the opportunity. I started at PS as a senior attorney, so at the lowest level as an attorney, doing mostly real estate at the time. And it was enjoyable. I really enjoyed working at PS because it was different as opposed to a law firm where you get involved in small sections of a topic. At PSEG, you're involved in the entire strategy for the corporation. So that kind of really excited me, and it kept the interest going at that level. And as I was working through my job, I got promoted into different levels. So I became an assistant general counsel, where I was working on not just real estate matters, but also regulatory matters, whether the federal regulatory world or the state regulatory world. Working with the BPU, working with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, trying to obtain permits for the company, things of that nature. And I did that for a few years and was actually promoted to an associate general regulatory counsel, where I did more in-depth regulatory work. I handled federal audits. I worked on trying to get capital projects approved at the BPU. So it was, again, I enjoyed it because there were so many different things on a daily basis. I could be doing one day where we need a permit from the BPU to build this new substation, or I'm working on a smaller level where I'm trying to ensure that we can trim trees on someone's property on an easement that we own. So there's totally different types of topics, but they're always kept things interesting because they were always different. And about 3 years ago, I got approached with an opportunity to take a job in the State Government Affairs Department. I had a very good working relationship, and that's, I think, one thing that I think is important in your career, is to make sure you have a good working relationship with people in your who you work with. So I had a real good working relationship with the Vice President for State Government Affairs. We worked together on a number of projects, and he approached me and asked me if I'd be interested in taking over this job as a Senior Director for State Government Affairs. So I never thought about leaving the law profession. I always wanted to be a lawyer. So it was a tough decision for me. It's something I never really thought would come my way. And after thinking about it carefully, I thought it was a good opportunity to try something different, get involved in something different in the corporation, see it from a different perspective. And I decided to take the job, and it's been fantastic 3 years since then. And a lot of changes in those 3 years in the department, how we do things, what we're involved in. Our department is called the Corporate Citizenship Department, and that is a new term. It was brought up about 1.5 years ago, where the CEO of the company decided that there was a really important for us to have a corporate citizenship department to show how we are helping our communities, at the same time advocating for our initiatives. So that was how the creation of this department came about. So it's been a really great experience from that perspective.
Yes, you mentioned a couple things in that response in terms of your education. and how you
Sure.
took that on into your career, the ways you moved around and were willing to take a different risk, the power of networking, right, and having that working relationship within your job. But
Yeah.
I would ask if you can explain the importance of that corporate citizen relationship or department, um, and the importance of PSCNG's work as a whole, as a company. You guys actually get
Yeah.
into.
And it's really, I mean, we're living through it right now. For those of you, we're video taping this right after a large storm that took place in New Jersey, where many people were out of service. So, and we're also, involved in a, global pandemic at this time. So that's really has affected the state greatly. So, I think this particular time shows how important our corporate citizenship department is. On the pandemic side, we have, we've gotten involved. We've posed a pandemic relief fund of $1 million over 3 years that we're proposing to give to, organizations that are helping the pandemic. And, it's, as we as a corporation believe it's very important that we become involved in our communities. I think one of our founders, Thomas McCarter, who founded PSCNG, his famous quote is, public service is there to try to help the state become a better, to try to, help improve the state as much as possible. That's what our mission statement is at the corporation. So things like the pandemic relief, where we're providing funds to, in our foundation to help support relief from that. We also have a powering equity initiative where we are proposing to contribute $1 million to social justice issues, which is a big topic in the current environment. So we're focused on helping our communities in any way possible. So the Corporate Citizens Department has the foundation, and it has a volunteerism component where we track how much volunteerism we do on a yearly basis. And we promote the employee participation in volunteerism activities. It's been difficult in 2020 to have people participate in volunteerism because, we're trying to make sure we're social distance and people are, trying to stay home. But I think it's important, to get involved in your community, to get involved for your corporation, to get involved in the community. As a public utility, we are involved in people's lives. As you can see, people without electricity, especially this day and age, tend to get upset. So, our goal is to provide reliable electricity, reliable gas service, but at the same time, be supportive of the communities that we serve, be involved in the communities that we serve. So we have also in our corporation a matching donation. So if you have a donation to a 501c3, company will match it up to $2,500. It's a great program. We try to encourage as many people to contribute to the local communities as much as possible. We encourage volunteers in your local communities, whether it's your local Pop Warner, your local Chamber of Commerce, whatever type of organization is out there. But to get involved and to be part of the community, I think is an important concept that we as a corporate citizenship department try to espouse. And from our perspective, we have other corporate initiatives. Obviously, we want to get some of our business initiatives completed, but at the same time, we have to make sure that we are trying to benefit our communities in our state. So on that perspective, we also provide, renewable opportunities. We're looking at energy efficiency. We're looking at offshore wind. We're looking at solar. I think it's important that we look at how to best benefit the state of New Jersey. And that's what our department is created for. That's what our mission statement is.
So sounds like some really powerful work. It's not something that students would recognize on face value, right? If they just hear the name PSCNG and a specific job title, it's not something that they can really see or pick apart just by seeing the name or hearing that information. So thank you for sharing. It's
no
also
problem.
a very creative way of using your personal experience and your personal knowledge to make an impact in your communities and through your job, right? So if you can explain your education path, I know you already touched on your journey through law school and wanting to be in the law.
Sure.
And there's a lot of students who've expressed that interest to us through Junior Achievement. So if you can explain a little bit about how you found that interest and in ways you can use it, being as an attorney, being a director, working for a corporation.
Sure. So I've wanted to be an attorney since I was probably in grammar school. I used to, when I was, 8, I carried around a little briefcase with papers all crumpled up in it,
Right.
pretending they were legal papers. So the law has always been something I've been interested in. When I was in high school, I did the mock courts, and it was just something I had always wanted to do. So I went to law school. I enjoyed it. I loved law school. It was my favorite 3 years of education. Not just because it was the topic that I was totally interested in. You go to college, you have so many different topics that you might not have any interest in, like math, like algebra or geology or things like that, where you have to take these courses, but you maybe don't have an interest in it. Obviously, the law was something I had been interested in. So once I got to law school, I really enjoyed it. And I always enjoyed being an attorney. I got a job right out of law school with a firm in New Jersey. Really enjoyed working at the law firm, the type of things that I did. I never thought I would be going to in-house, but obviously that's something people, as a lawyer, you're always looking at opportunities to, I think balance work-life a little bit. At a law firm, it's really focused on, billing hours and how many, what kind of business can you bring in and things of that nature, where an in-house job is really more of a 9 to 5 type of job. You're still going to have time where you're going to have to work after, no question about it. But it was no way near the level at the law firm. So when I had an opportunity to go in-house, I jumped at it. And I really never thought that I would leave the law. I mean, it was something I enjoyed. Going back, I went to Villanova Law School, which is in outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Great experience. Like a great location. You have the city nearby. So many different things to do. And I always wanted to stay in this area. I never thought I would, the law was just something I never thought I would leave. And, one thing I will say that's important when you're looking at your career is to keep your eyes open. You never know when an opportunity is going to come up, and maybe be flexible, because, as much as I wanted to be a lawyer and as much as I love being a lawyer, I think being flexible and open to opportunities is really important if you want to advance in your career. I could have stayed in the law department. It wasn't something where I was trying to get out. In fact, they had come to me. I did not, look at an opportunity outside. But I think it's important to keep that flexibility and look what's out there, not just stay focused on what you're doing, because there are a lot of opportunities out there. And maybe 30, 40 years ago, you stayed in a career your whole life, and that's where you're retired. Nowadays, I think it's a little different, and finding different areas and moving to different places, getting different opportunities, getting different experiences. I think it really helps you develop your career and allows you to advance to different levels. And I think that's, something that, I've enjoyed. I was not a manager in the law department. I did not have any employees reporting to me. Now I have, I think 35 employees indirectly reporting up through my department. It's a totally different experience, but I really enjoy it, and I think you get an opportunity to help other people advance in their careers, and that's something when you're a lawyer you never really think about. So I'm glad I took the opportunity, and the only advice I would give is to keep your eyes open and be flexible. Don't get stuck in one location or one job. It may seem great, you may love it, but there are a lot of different opportunities out there and that may even be better or may help you gain the experience you need to advance further. So that's the advice I would give anybody if they're looking at a career at this point.
So again, that's some pretty powerful insight in terms of keeping your mind open and not staying in one lane or one direction and thinking that just because I go to school to become an attorney, I have to stay an attorney, or just because I go to school to get a business degree, I have to become, the traditional businessman. But I think it's really important for students to see that flexibility and see how they can use skills and do different things. So thank you for sharing that.
No, and if I can add just one thing to that,
yeah.
I think, even if you're not sure you want to be a lawyer, there's nothing negative about going to law school. I think you get a great education at law school, and you do get an education on the law, but you get an education on how to think, how to analyze. And I'll tell you what, I have a lot of friends that are doing various different things that are not connected to the law. I have a friend who's in the diplomatic security service. I have a friend who runs his own company that's not a legal law firm. I mean, I have friends that are, on organizations. They're on nonprofit organizations. You can do a lot of different careers with a law degree. So even if you're considering law and you're not sure you want to do it, I would suggest go to law school, give it a shot. You can get a lot of experiences out of that, and people want to hire people who have an advanced education. So I think it's a positive all around.
Definitely can't beat that, right? The power of education is something that is going to continue to drive students forward. But, Dave, I want to thank you for taking the time with us, on behalf of Junior Achievement. And we know that the time is most of the time one of the most valuable things you can give to someone or an organization. So taking the time to really stop and speak with me for a little bit was greatly appreciated. I'm sure there's a lot of students who will use your insight, go forward with it, and try to use you as a reference, make
no problem.
the correct decision. So I look forward to speaking with you in the future, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Appreciate it.